bag where I keep the spare pair of socks, spare tyre with a compression CO2 and a pump, and then make sure like I have a power bar in there sometimes just to give me some sort of a boost if I need it, and that's at 80 k's, so it's quite nice. And another additional thing, on the day, arm warmers, roll them up as donuts like that, and it's really good even if it's a hot day, because you'll always be getting water from the aid station, so you dip them in the water and then you roll them up on your arms to cool your arms down, and when you get hot you roll them down again. So it works pretty well, and if it's a cold day, obviously they really work to warm you up, so I'll put that in my bike bag. Okay, so let me just double check got everything. The Run Special Needs bag, it's not really something I always look at, because Run Special Needs is such a thing where if you don't use it, they discard it, and if you put something valuable in it, you end up by losing it. And so I tend to put a pair of socks in there, maybe some caffeine tablets, or maybe a plaster. This year I want to put this plaster on the back of my neck, because the seawater tends to give me a really bad rash at the back of my neck, so I make sure I put some plaster on the back of my neck as well. It's additional. So let's just double check I've got everything. Got a list of stuff that I need to double check. So let's just double check the bike and swim. Okay, and then run. That's fine. So just go through a few nutritional ideas that I have. I have these pre-configured in a way where I know exactly how much calories I'm going to be burning on the bike and on the run and on the swim. The swim you can't take in any calories, so you have to make sure that you prep your calories before the swim, which means like a 2,000 calories of intake before the swim, and then I tend to have a power bar half an hour before, and 5 minutes I have a gel and water, and that kind of gets me through quite a lot of the swim and the swim and quite a lot of the first stage of the bike. So about an hour into the bike I'll start feeling a little bit thirsty or hungry, and then I may have something, but I tend to plan it so that I'm taking 450 calories an hour on the bike. So every 15 minutes I'll be drinking multidextrim, which is in powder form, and the way they work with the bikes in Ironman South Africa is that they give you it's a catered course, so everything is like goo, which is it's not very palatable for me. I can't eat it. So I have PSP and PSP and SIS gels, and then I have various other tablets that I'll show you what I do with those. But basically the multidextrim, I've worked it out that I need to replenish the bottle on my bike, which tends to be the front bottle, the slimline front bottle, which is 750 milliliters, which I use as an output, and the input is the 2 seat-mounted bottles that are given to me at the different aid stations. So initially all 3 bottles will be full of multidextrin. This is this stuff here, and once I've completed the first loop, I will have finished 3 bottles. So it'll mean that I'll have to get another 3, which they would give me, and I'd pop 2 in the back rack, discarding the other ones, and then I'd pour the third one into the front, where this multidextrin will be pre-mixed in a little fuel bottle like that, of exactly the amount of scoops that I need for my whole bike. So it means that I'll have 2 of these with 6 servings each. Okay, 6 servings between the 2 of them. So it means that I'll have 9 bottles, and already using up 3 for the first loop, and then another additional 2 for the additional 2 loops, additional 6 for the additional 2 loops. So that all this multidextrin will be dissolved in a bit of water in these bottles, where I'll pour the water into the front and squirt a quarter of this bottle into it, and it'll mix itself when I ride. So that's the bike solved, and the swim solved. Then the run, same method. 2 bottles in my run belt, and a bottle of concentrated multidextrin as a replenisher, which will have 6 times servings, so 6 servings of multidextrin. And then they supply you with water on the run in sachet form, which is about 100 milliliters, and that'll just be every 2 Ks, and you just literally drink it and pour it on you and do whatever you want, but just always make sure you've got water on you all the time, especially on a hot day like today, which is like almost 25, 26 degrees. So that's basically fuel and nutrition and water. Now, pre-race, I drink a lot of liquids during the day, where I mix this, what is known as hornet juice, which is a synthetic amino acid supplement, which is derived from what hornets use to fly 60 miles in one go. They use this method, and they've just basically synthesized it, and then now it's in powder form. Tastes quite nice, and I dilute this and I drink liters of it during the day before the race. And obviously I take my supplements, like for example creatine. I take a lot of creatine to enhance muscle loss. And then I have salt tablets for the day in a separate bag. Glucose tablets, these are the glucose tablets here. These glucose tablets you can chew, because you find that all the sweet stuff going into you all the time can make you feel really, really bilious, and you just become anti-sweet stuff. So you have to have some sort of glucose replenishment. So I have tablet form, and also I also have these caffeine tablets as well, which I take maybe twice in the whole ride, which is about equivalent to 2 espressos. Just to come back to the gels, the bike, I've got 9 gels. Now remember, they're not very huge amounts of calories. They're quite a small amount of calories. In fact, per gel is only 86 calories. So it's quite a low amount of calories. So basically I just use them to sip, which creates glucose metabolism, and so the body releases glucose, and it helps me a lot. And halfway through the bike, so 90 kilometers, I'll have a caffeinated gel, which is, they say it's high in caffeine, but it's basically equivalent to a Starbucks espresso. And then one at the end of the bike, 180 Ks, with a ibuprofen tablet, which is in liquid form. I'll show you what it looks like. It's basically just the ibuprofen liquid form, and then the caffeinated tablets are like that, so I have those as well. And then one during the run, so halfway, 20 kilometers into the run, I'll have another caffeinated gel, okay, which just kind of evokes the nervous system, and it creates a bit of a wave shock in your system to wake it up a bit, to start catching the nutritions coming through you, because often that fatigue feeling comes because of the fact that the nutritions are coming through, but they're not being picked up by the muscles, and caffeine helps me with that. Then I have power bars for food. So in this case I've got 3 power bars, 1 for the run and 2 for the bike, or 2 for the bike. And I'll probably have these potatoes on the run, the little tiny little potatoes that they serve you, which is quite nice. Let me see if I've forgotten anything. No, just make sure that you keep a lot of water, drink a lot of water, and yeah, I think that's it. Just explain a little bit more about the stuff that they give you. The numbers. There's a number for your seat post, long number like that. Then you have 4 numbers like that, and they're all bag numbers, so this has to go onto the bags, all these numbers. And there's another one here that you use for your special needs bags, and you can also give one for your supporter. So if I have a supporter, this year I have a supporter, which is really nice. I'll give this to my supporter, and they will put it on their bag or whatever, and people will see that they are not just there to look at all us star athletes running around in lycras, but they really like the guy or the girl that's running or doing the triathlon. You also get a very important thing, which is a checkout bag card. If you don't checkout bike card, if you don't have this when you come in and finish your triathlon, they won't give you your bike. So that's a big showstopper. If you've finished your Ironman and you can't take your bike home. Right. Another thing that's very important is your meal voucher, and so you get a cool drink and a meal, and then you also get a burger, which is really good. And I always keep that in my run belt to make sure that's in the run belt ASAP. So that's that. You only get one number for some reason. Normally they give you 2 numbers. So I tend to put one on my bike. Obviously you have to put it onto your run belt or your number belt, and then I keep another spare one on my run belt, so in case it breaks or something on the bike, because it's 180 k's and you don't know if it's going to be rain or wind or whatever, it's going to either get torn or come off, and if you don't have one, you get DNF. So it's very important that you have one. You get disqualified. If you swap the numbers, it's got your number, your contact details at the back, and special needs, and so it's very important that you keep that. Another little thing that I've found, that this stuff they use for women when they breastfeeding, it's called lanolin. It's far better than the normal Vaseline and Glide in terms of vibrations and rashes and stuff like that. So I tend to rub this onto all the areas that I know will be suffering the most, which is generally my upper legs and under my arms, and then nipples, etc. One other thing I just want to show you before I start equipping my bike with nutritions is that I picked up a little tip that in the run belt, if you keep a little pot of Vaseline lip care, it's actually the same as a normal Vaseline. And you can literally just take it out on the fly if you get some sort of rash and put it onto the rash, and it'll solve the rash straight away. The other thing is to get a surfer's sunblock so it doesn't come off on the water with sweat. That's in case, obviously if you're racing in hot conditions, which is hard to imagine if you're living in, like we are live in England, where it's freezing cold all the time and no sun. But it's important to remember those things. And also keep some calm speed in my run belt, just in case I develop cold or blisters from the water, pouring water onto my body all the time. And that's it really. So I'll be going for a bit of a ride, making sure my bike is fine, and coming back and starting to tape the nutritions on the bike, and make sure that all my multi-dextrin is mixed into the right bottles and labelled up, which, as you can see, I'm quite anal. I put all my names and everything on the bags, and I know exactly where it's going to go and what I need to do with it. Otherwise, you can get yourself pretty confused, Anyway, so that's it. Thank you.